Hey, what's going on? Steven here. We got the ECOROAD ES6 Dual Drive electric scooter. The Dual Drive version is a brand new one, and for only $699, this thing can go up to 34 miles per hour. And it's quite a hill climber as well, giving those scooters and e-bikes twice its price a challenge for its money. The ES6 Dual Drive has two motors. Each motor is at 1000 watts peak, so together it's 2000 watts peak, and it's pretty torquey at the low end. And it goes all the way up to 34 miles per hour with no hesitation, and the acceleration curve feels really linear. And like I said before, it's got a top speed of 34 miles per hour, and it consistently hits up to 34 miles per hour. Even though when it gets to 34 miles per hour, it feels a little bit sketchy. The wheels would kind of weave left and right a little bit. So I do think you need a steering damper for this electric scooter if you plan to consistently go up to 34 miles per hour. But if you're getting the scooter to consistently ride around 20-25 miles per hour, then I don't think you're gonna need a steering damper of any kind. What's interesting about the ES6 is that it has dual front suspensions as well as dual rear suspensions. However, these are kind of dialed in so tight that there's virtually no effect from these suspensions. Pretty much it feels like a no suspension electric scooter. When I try to jump up and down and I'm 200 pounds, this thing barely moves up and down. So it's quite not dampening. So don't expect a plush ride. The ride is going to be very, very firm. While we're here, I love this shallow yet short kicktail. This kicktail is very comfortable. It's angled just enough for the torque and acceleration of this electric scooter, and you can definitely comfortably put your weight on this electric scooter with no problem. The handle is somewhat easy to use, like that. And if you want to put everything together, you just kind of slam it tight. So not a big fan of this thing, so you do have to use two hands. One hand to hold the stem and push it forward, and the other hand to pull it back. That's how you fold the scooter. And then fold this. When you push it down, it will be completely folded. And then you just do that and comes right back up. Let's go over the dash real quick. The dashboard can be seen during the day. I have 55% battery left. I'm in P mode, park mode. To disengage park mode, you press the brake lever. There's 4 speed modes. 4 is the fastest. And double click M, you enable dual wheel drive. The console here is very clicky, so if you're wearing gloves, you would have no problem not knowing whether if you click the button or not. Comes with a little cute bell, and then very snappy mechanical brakes. The scooter itself is 48 volt, 15.6 amp hours. So when it comes to battery capacity, it's about a normal battery capacity for this price. And the voltage is roughly about the same as well. It's got a clean range of 50 miles. You're not gonna get anywhere near that. As a 200-pound person, I got roughly about 16 miles. And that's with me, a 200-pound person, in a 104-degree day, going as fast as I can on the scooter, which is roughly about 30 miles per hour. If you run a little bit slower than me, you could definitely drastically increase the range of this electric scooter. The stem height is also retractable. Check this out. You just do that and you can retract it super low and super high as well. I'm gonna put the total retractable height on the screen so you can see it, but it's definitely nice to have something like this so different people in your family can use this. It is using a 10x3 tubeless off-road tires. These tires are very knobby and they do feel great when you're actually off-roading. On the road, they're pretty good as well. They're just a little bit noisy. They use mechanical discs. These are about 160 millimeters. These disc brakes are pretty good for a scooter of this size. It's got RGB lights on the side. The scooter itself is IPX5 rated and the battery is IPX6 rated. It takes about 8 hours to charge and the scooter weighs 69 pounds, very close to 70 pounds. Okay, draggy is connected. Top speed mode, dual wheel drive. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, very torquey at the low end. A lot of headwind. Okay, that's the speed. Braking. Let's take a look. 0 to 10 in 1.55, 0 to 20 in 4.09, 0 to 30 in 9.64, 1/8 of a mile in 17.0 seconds. That's quite impressive for a scooter that is $599. Okay, let's do it again. I'm gonna do it the opposite way. We had a little bit of headwind, so I think this time around it's gonna be much better. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, very torquey, very good. Yeah, this thing is a little wobbly. Once it hits 34, there's this slight corkscrew feeling. Slightly wobbly. You probably need a steering damper of some sort. Okay. 0 to 10 in 1.43, 0 to 20 in 3.75, 0 to 30 in 8.74, 0 to 35 in 13.79. We did hit 35 miles per hour. And in 1/8 of a mile, we hit 16.59 seconds. Quite impressive. Now let's do the top speed section. Okay, top speed, here we go. I might back off ever so slightly. Just because this thing doesn't feel 100% stable. Woo! Okay. When the scooter gets to top speed, roughly around 34-35 miles per hour, the scooter slightly corkscrews to the left and then waves to the right, waves to the left and waves to the right. It does that with a certain cadence to it. It's a very mellow wave left, wave right. Doesn't feel very safe to me. When I grab my brakes, immediately the front just starts to wobble. I would say get the scooter if you plan on staying under 30 miles per hour. It's good to know that you have the headroom, but I personally would not consistently go up to 30 miles per hour considering how wobbly it is at top speed. And even when you apply braking, the front just starts to shake. Yeah. But still, like $5.99, your regular commuter scooter, stay at 20 miles per hour. I think it's still fine. Just like don't go up to the advertised speed, even though it can. I just think it's dangerous. Oh my gosh, that's so much torque. Okay, let's do the carving test. Scooter's an okay carver. It doesn't want to lean too hard. The turning is pretty mellow, I would say. With slight delay, it feels a little bit sluggish when you're turning. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, no, it's in park mode. This thing goes into park mode if you don't use the scooter for like 10 seconds. So squeeze the brake and off you go. Okay. So the suspensions are doing absolutely nothing. I can tell you that. Oh my gosh. I'm just bouncing up and down everywhere. Suspensions are really stiff. They're comparable to no suspensions at all. What is really good, however, are the off-road tires. They're very grippy. When it comes to a turn like this, I can turn at a slightly higher speed than what I'm actually used to and still feel like I'm gripping the ground, which is nice. The other types of tires, I can feel I'm slipping off, but oh my gosh, it's really hard to talk when I'm being thrown up and down because the suspension isn't doing its job. These four suspensions look nice, but they're just dialed way the fuck up. Okay, yeah. I believe the max average was about 1.3. That's really high. That's one of the highest averages I've recorded. Max was like 13, so it was also super high as well. Okay, so there you have it. Let's now go do the braking test. Okay, draggy braking. We're just going to be doing braking for a couple of times, and then we're going to read out all the 15 to 0 scores. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice. 1. 2. I'm gonna go the other way. 1. 2. Okay, good. All right, let's check out 15 to 0 in 1.4 seconds, 18.32 feet. Very nice. 15 to 0 took about 2 seconds and then went from 16 feet, 1.38 seconds. That's actually very nice. The brakes felt kind of mushy. This one is 23.62 feet, 1.74 seconds. So yeah, there we go. The brakes feel a little bit mushy, but I guess when you really hold them down and press them down, they're okay. They're okay. One of the complaints that I have about the brakes is that you cannot fully leverage it with just one finger. You have to let go of your entire hand and then fully press it. And that's when you can use the full power of the brakes. So if I were you, I probably need to adjust the brake so that the brakes can actuate the full potential about halfway through so that you can still, use one finger while the rest of your hand controls the handle. Okay, we're going to be looking at the turn test right now. Let's see how far the scooter can turn. So it's roughly about a 45-degree turn. And let's get on the scooter. Try to make a U-turn, see how far we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Wants to... The lean is okay, but it wants to fall a little bit more aggressively when you're turning slowly. So the slow balance, I would say it's okay. It's not too good. So in a U-turn, when you're standing on it, it's about halfway of this trail. So now, if you're just pushing it, say you get off the scooter and you want to turn as hard as you can, that is about the width it takes to turn it. Yeah, so a little bit longer than the sidewalk. If you're on the sidewalk, you probably need to do like a 3-point turn or something like that. All right, we're at Scooter Hill. This is where scooters come and die. So we're gonna see how powerful this scooter is by climbing hills. After all, it does have dual wheel drive and uses about 1,000 watt motors peak. So we're gonna see how well it does. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, still a ton of torque. 24, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32. Wow, this is quite a climber. 33. I bet you this is more like 28 real time. But this is very impressive for a $600 scooter. Time. Okay, let's check out the performance. Okay, 1/4 of a mile in 33.43 seconds. Man, this is almost catching up the $1,300 and $1,400 scooters. That's more than double its price. So that's very good. And I did this around 60% battery. That's how much battery I have left when I, finish other type of testing. So yeah, this is quite impressive. Very impressive. Let's see what a $599 dual drive can get us. Ooh, pretty torquey, man. This thing is pretty torquey. This thing doesn't have too many bells and whistles, so it doesn't have NFC tags and stuff like that. But so far, I would say it's pretty peppy and torquey for a $599 scooter. And considering how much power it has, it's quite smooth. Today is 104 degrees in the lovely desert of Utah. It is extremely hot right now. Just existing out here kind of hurts physically and mentally. So yeah, if you appreciate the hard work, even on a brutal Sunday like this, I'm still out here testing electric scooters for you guys so that you're getting your money's worth. If you appreciate that, hit the like and subscribe. Be sure to watch the video to the end because that's the only thing the algorithm cares about. Hey, how's it going? I just got back from a range test and this thing is at 0 right now. It cannot move. I'm gonna have to call an Uber to get home, but I've stopped at 15.2 miles. 15.2 miles carrying a 200-pound rider with roughly 20 pounds of equipment, so 220 pounds in a 104-degree day, riding as fast as 30 to 35 miles per hour. So I think this is actually pretty good. With an elevation roughly about 400 to 600 feet. Yeah, it did pretty well, I would say. If you are lighter weight and if you use only one motor, you can go a lot longer than what I'm doing. This is just to show you what the maximum range is if you were to go on full blast, so that you have that on top of your mind. All right, so some of the cons that I can think of. The number one thing that I can think of is that it does not have turn signals. This thing does not have turn signals in the front or the rear. If you plan to commute with this on a daily basis, ask yourself, if you don't have turn signals, is that going to be a big problem for you? In some states, it might be illegal, so be sure to check that out. Number two, it doesn't have any key or NFC keys, so be sure to buy a lock alongside with this electric scooter, because you're not going to be able to use any software to unlock this. And number three, it came with knobby off-road tires. Not a lot of people are going to buy $500 electric scooters to go full-on off-roading. Most of them are buying this for commuting, but these knobby tires are a little bit more wobbly and they're a little bit louder. So I think full traction city slick tires are probably the better option here. So pros, what are the pros for the ES6 dual drive electric scooters? Number one pro is just the sheer amount of stupid torque that comes from this electric scooter at only $699. This thing climbs up the scooter hill that usually destroys cheap scooters. 8 up the hill with 0 problems at 30 miles per hour, even beating more expensive electric scooters. The second pro, of course, is the top speed. The top speed on this thing is absolutely amazing, and it easily reaches the advertised speed of 34 miles per hour. And the number 3 pro is the adjustable stem. Like what we talked about, the stem can be adjusted, so if you want to lean forward more with more aggressive stance, you can definitely adjust that. Or if you want your shorter cousin to ride this thing, you can definitely adjust the stand. So that is super awesome. So at the end of the day, who is this electric scooter for? I think this electric scooter is for a budget conscious commuter who wants to occasionally go off-road, but still mainly stays on the road because the suspensions are so stiff. This person would have a lot of hills to climb, and they want to climb those hills as efficiently as possible and also as cheaply as possible. This is possibly one of the cheapest, best hill climbers I've ever reviewed. And there are many things that I like and I don't like about this scooter, but I think if you want the cheapest hill climber, this is it. If you want to take a look at this scooter, please check it out using the link down below, and I'll see you on the next one.